the fucking... Wait, let me actually change the topic to just chatting. Because I'm not playing also anymore. Wanna watch something interesting while I'm fucking finishing my dinner for the night. But what do we watch? There's nothing interesting on my fucking timeline, bro. Nothing fucking interesting. Wait, huh. A one man got Discord banned in Turkey. Oh, okay, I know what that is. Okay, I'm not even gonna bother. I believe Mujin has a lot of videos that are actually interesting. But which one should we watch? Like I've watched most of them in my everyday account. But for my stream account, I don't think that I've watched anything though. He's done quite a lot of videos, not gonna lie. Why Twitch and its CEO are currently in massive trouble? I know what that one's about, so I'm not even gonna bother opening it. The biggest failure in video game history. Okay. That one's a bit more tame. A deep dive into the historic downfall of Dr. Disrespect. How to end your career with one message. Okay. Nice. I know that one though. It's very interesting, but I would rather stay out of the what do you call it? I'd rather stay out of drama, so I'm not gonna watch it on stream. Cause I have an opinion on Doctor Disrespect, but I don't want to share it on stream. Like I've said it many times, but I don't want to say it on stream anymore. Because I want to stay out of drama and out of all of that shit. Like, how can you think that way? Everybody has their own opinion, and they're entitled to it. So that's why let's just watch something else. Wait, what did I open up again? I believe it was yeah.
What would you do if you won over $100 million overnight?
Okay.
One of those mythical houses that no one can afford? How about a car? This one will make everyone laugh at you.
Also, by the way, I'm gonna be muting and unmuting myself because I'm eating and I don't want you guys to listen to all of my creaking and crackling of the fork scraping around the fucking plates and shit. So, because I know that it's annoying. So yeah, I'm just gonna be muting and unmuting myself. But I am here. Don't worry about it. I am here.
Perfect for family gatherings. Or perhaps you can just pay off your hospital bill because damn, that is a lot of money. Regardless of what you might choose, I'm confident that you'll make the right decision. That is, of course, unless you are a Sony executive, in which case you'd spend all your money on whatever the fuck this is. This is being called the biggest failure in gaming history. And surprisingly enough, this is not clickbait. We can now confirm that this game took a painstaking 8 years to make. And people are estimating that this game cost anything from 100 million to 300 million. And even better, we know how much this game sold on all platforms. Industry analysts have given a number that they think is the most accurate, and guys, let me tell you, they didn't even make back 1% of their money. I'm not even joking. The story of Concord is so ridiculous it might as well be a circus. But most people only know about its ending, about its failure. But there's a lengthy backstory, and it has to do with Sony's master plan for PlayStation. I got all the juicy, hilarious details for you, so sit back, relax, and let's talk about this disaster together. Speaking of disasters, I simply cannot defend you here. What is your Twitter profile? What are you posting? This is totally your fault. But you know what isn't your fault? Getting spam emails simply for signing up for a newsletter or a loyalty program. Don't worry, it's not because you're unlucky, it's simply because your data is being sold. Whenever you fill out your info on a website, the company associated will sell your information
Okay.
shamelessly.
Thank you,
Then have
but
get rid of those
I don't wanna
during
ans-
the year 20. Thank you, Incogni, for sponsoring this video. A disaster of this magnitude doesn't usually happen overnight. No, this actually has quite a bit of history. During the year 2022, Sony was in the process of acquiring Bungie. This deal took months to finalize, I think maybe even a year, but they got it for $3.7 billion and then announced it on July 16th, 2022. But they were talking about it since February 2022, months before they finalized it during a shareholder meeting. One of, if not the main reason why they acquired Bungie is because they had extensive experience running a live service game ever since they launched Destiny 1 in 2014. Sony, like many other developers, had seen the player count absolutely multiply by a gazillion players during the pandemic and got excited over the fact that, hey, maybe we can milk them some more. This is a time when these company executives would have their children start to ask them for V-Bucks gift cards. And they were shocked. They had never seen a video game take over their household quite like this before. This wasn't just limited to PlayStation. Everyone wanted a live service game that would print them money. This is when they would completely shift their priorities. During the shareholder meeting, they announced that they were working on over 10 different live service titles. Yes, 10. More specifically, around 12. And that they aimed to release all of them by March 2026. They justified the purchase of Bungie, saying that this will directly help with those goals. This to me just sounds like a massive cope of why they spent so much money acquiring Bungie. But regardless, even after spending $3 billion on a new studio, they still had others that they were interested in, that they had their eyes on. By then, PlayStation had already had friendly relations with Firewalk Studios. This is a studio that was founded by veteran game developers, and a good amount of them actually were ex-Bungie employees. So of course, when an executive heard the phrase ex-Bungie employee, they started drooling all over the floor because to them that just meant live service, monetization, microtransactions, just a big old money printer, baby. Over a year passes since that shareholder meeting talking about all those live service games, and then on April 2023, PlayStation acquires Firewalk Studios. Here's what the head of PlayStation Studios had to say. He said, "We continue to be impressed by the team's ambitions to build a modern multiplayer game that connects players in new and innovative ways. The studio shares our passion for creating inspiring worlds grounded in exceptional gameplay, and we want to continue to invest in their mission. We're excited for Firewalk to bring their technical and creative expertise to PlayStation Studios to help grow our live service operations and deliver something truly special for gamers. Please join me in welcoming Firewalk." So if I had to quickly translate this from corporate speak to English, it would say, guys, we're so happy to have these ex-Bungie employees monetize the ever-living shit out of our upcoming game so that they can print us money. That's what this really says. But what's interesting here is that at the time, we knew nothing of Firewalk. We knew nothing of what they were working on except a multiplayer game. Now, Sony's known to acquire studios it likes, but usually it's after they prove themselves really well. Like how they partnered with Insomniac Games for years, but only acquired them after the massive success of Spider-Man. So Firewalk Studios had a lot of pressure to contend with even before launching their first ever game, but they were confident they could handle it. Now, a few months passed by, okay? We're in November 2023, a few months after they acquired Firewalk Studios. During a financial call, the president and COO of Sony breached the topic of those live service games they're working on. He sat there and reminded shareholders about the whole 12 live service games thing, only to promptly say that, well, we're cutting that number by half. We're hoping to release 6 now, hopefully. His reasoning was that we might have not really met the gamers' expectations with some of the titles. So we're just going to cut it down to 6. That's our plan. One of the games that were meant to launch and have live service elements was a Last of Us multiplayer game worked on by Naughty Dog. A month after that call, the game from Naughty Dog got cancelled, saying that they'll just focus on making a single-player game instead. This multiplayer game will probably not meet expectations. Looking back, this probably could have been one of the best decisions they ever made. But of course, people were still disappointed because they were looking forward to it. Disappointment, though, was what people were experiencing during PlayStation's State of Play on May 30th, 2024. Ever since the death of E3, this has been a way for PlayStation to reveal any new games they're working on and any developments in terms of the console. The State of Play happens multiple times a year, and it's always an event that PlayStation fans look forward to immensely. The expectations for these are usually high because PlayStation is known for creating some pretty high quality games, but also very few of them. There are like no games to play for the PS5, and that's been a complaint since day one. This is one of the many reasons why the State of Play on May 30th was so important.
This is something that I'm very, very confused by. Like, how the fuck can you be $1 billion company, if not $1 trillion company, and yet still have no games for your fucking ass console? This is why I love fucking computers, bro. Everything is on PC. Everything that you can think of. Yeah, there are certain games which are, let's say, PlayStation exclusives that you can only play on PlayStation. But give or take 5 to 10 years, they're gonna come out for PC as well. So, take for example, Until Dawn. Until Dawn was a PlayStation 4 exclusive. It's been 9 years. And after 9 years, they finally decided to release it for PC with better graphics, but the same story and the same way to play the game as before. So, not every game that Sony ever releases is gonna be exclusive nowadays. Eventually, it will come to PC. So, be patient. I know it takes a lot of time. Like, I've always wanted to play Until Dawn, but since I never had a console and I didn't want a console, I just cut it out of my life. Yeah, I did watch videos of it on YouTube, the whole playthrough, actually, right after the game came out. But that was it. Like, what more could I want? Maybe play the game, maybe try it out, but I've never wanted a console. Specifically because I know that eventually the game is gonna come on PC, believe it or not. All of the um all of the developers are like, we're releasing this game as a PlayStation exclusive, and a few years later we're gonna release a PC version, converting the game to PC as well. But most of them don't do it. Or they just wait about 10 years for them to actually release it for computer again. Purely because there are no players left of that game. It's been 10 years. Like, come on, dude. I hope that somebody in Sony finally realizes and is like, we're gonna bring Shadow of the Colossus to PC. Because I don't remember how long has it been since Shadow of the Colossus released. Wait,
Well, guys,
wait. Shadow of the Colossus. PS4. $2018. So we gotta wait until 2028 or at least 2027 for them to finally realize that bringing Shadow of the Colossus for PC would finally be something that they wanna do, because it's gonna bring a lot more players to the game. PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4 Pro. PlayStation 4 Pro, it does have better graphics, but it's essentially the same game, from what I hear. I do like the game quite a lot actually, but I want to play it on PC. I don't want to play it on a console, and I don't want to give money just to play a console game. Like, imagine you're giving $800 for a console just for a single game. Like, what is the point of it?
important. But interestingly enough, out of the 35 minutes of this state of play, 1/3 of it went towards one game exclusively, and that game is none other than Concord. It starts off with the head of product of PlayStation coming in and introducing Concord and Firewalk Studios and the amazing work they've been doing behind the scenes, and just can't wait to show you what you will love. Surely, right? It's clear they spared no expense here. They have a whole CGI trailer showing off the characters and the world that you're about to experience in Concord. And other than the chat being very positive about this game, it was clear that this wasn't really the reaction they were hoping for. This CGI trailer was meant to introduce you to the characters and make you like them, but all it did was just appear to be a Guardians of the Galaxy knockoff, which it is, by the way. It's a very, very obvious Guardians of the Galaxy knockoff with a very uninspired twist. Not even halfway through the CGI trailer, and you could tell people were over the characters, the story, and the writing. They were hoping that at least the gameplay would be decent, that it would redeem this game. All those hopes were shattered immediately as soon as they realized that this was yet another team shooter. Some of the gameplay looked fun. It looked interesting. I mean, honestly, the gameplay isn't too bad, but there are already too many of these on the market, and this one just looks like the worst out of all of them. Why would you play this over something like Overwatch? But they were really convinced that they had the formula to take over any competitor because of how interesting their characters were. They had some really big plans. Every week when you would log in, you would see a new cutscene with characters on your ship interacting, further building the world and their relationships. But there was one problem they didn't really foresee. We couldn't care less. They are terrible characters. They're so generic and lame. They had 1/3 of the entire state of play, and they couldn't make us like a single character. Just one! They couldn't, after 8 years of development. Now look, from past examples of criticism like this, I don't think it's that hard to determine how the developers took this feedback. They saw both the YouTube chat and Twitch chat and thought to themselves, oh, these are such bigoted and angry gamers. I'm so glad that I'm not making the game for them. So they just proceeded to close their ears and move on like nothing happened. They set their sights on the beta that was launching on July for both PS5 and PC, and they were of course confident that this was going to be the proof they needed to show that this game was going to be an amazing success. But one thing to keep in mind is that people up until this point didn't even know that the game was going to cost money to play. They were under the impression that this is a free-to-play game, and they were already hating on it, okay? They didn't know that this game cost $40. They completely ignored this whole pre-order starting period thing that showed up in the live stream. If any—
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Am I getting this correct or am I getting it wrong? Because I'm thinking, wait a minute. Did they actually take money for the fucking beta of the game? Bro. 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 Usually, and I'm saying that usually when a game beta arrives, doesn't matter whether on PC or on PlayStation, the beta is free. Even if it's invite only, even if it's closed beta, it's still free. And I have never in my entire fucking life seen whatever game it is in beta to take money from you just to try out the game. Because that's what betas are for. To try out the game, see how it works, and if you like it or not. And if you encounter any kinds of bugs, you report them, and they can fix the game before officially launching it. And they can fidget a little bit with all of the quirks and things that the game has before releasing it. Now, if that is not the case and I'm wrong, which I hope that I am wrong, that they didn't want, I hope that they did not want money from you, so you as the player can play the beta. I hope that they didn't do that. Secondly, you know what a live service game is, right? all of the live service games nowadays, call it Overwatch, call it Apex, call it whatever the fuck you want, are free, including Valorant, because Valorant is pretty much the same shit, team-based shooter with abilities and etc. Who the fuck is gonna give $40 fucking dollars for this shit? Like, I understand that back in 2016, when Overwatch first released, it did used to cost $20, $30, something like that. But it was a live service game and it was the very first of its kind. That's why it costed that much money, and because it was Blizzard. Because if it was another studio, not Blizzard, it wasn't gonna cost even $20 to play. It was gonna cost more like $15 to $10, something like that. But because it was Blizzard, that's why it costed $20 just to access the game. Not to mention all of the starter pack things where you get bonus loot boxes for skins and etc. Like that costed about $60 if I'm not mistaken, with all of the gadgets and etc. All of the bonuses that you get in Overwatch 2. But that was back in 2016, 2017, something like that, bro. It's already 2024. All of the live service games are free with battle passes for a reason, because the battle pass system wins money. That's why nobody, and I mean nobody, in this goddamn earth nowadays puts live service games for money. They put them for free, but the small twist is that they add a battle pass, because they do need some sort of money to be able to keep the game alive. That's what I understand. Like I do understand the developers. Why are they adding the battle pass system? It's because they need to earn money somehow and use that money to pay their employees and to keep the game alive. That's what live service games are for. Even if we don't like the whole concept of battle passes, that's it. That was the future back in the day. That is the future. That is the future. That is the present now. Battle Pass games are now. But yeah, if they kept it only Battle Pass free game, that was gonna be good. But $40, nah, bro. Nobody would pay that.
Anything, it just seemed like an extra bonus pack you could buy. And yet they were still very disappointed. As soon as this game was revealed, there were articles talking about how badly it was received, how negative the reaction was. Other than the fact that it looked bland and just generic, people didn't like the fact that it was yet another 5v5 first-person shooter. One commenter said, "The cutscene sold me on an adventure. They're talking about the CGI trailer that played first," but then said, "The very next words out of the developer's mouth is 5v5 FPS." So, interest gone. And I should specify, again, these people saying this, most of them had no idea.
Basically, they tried to reinvent Overwatch from 2016, thinking that the Blizzard tactics that they used back in 2016 were gonna work. Maybe they would have. Maybe. If it wasn't a first-person shooter.
That this was going to cost $40
And a hero shooter at that.
on launch day. After the reveal, the staff working on the game was getting criticized so heavily on Twitter that the lead character designer left the platform only to come back later saying, "I'm coming back for two things. One, hype for Concord and love for my fellow game devs. Two, mute and block anything that is remotely toxic and or doesn't relate to one." The game hadn't even launched yet, but the community's negative feedback was already starting to get to the developers, and it was obvious. But this was only the beginning of the criticism. Day one of the open beta, which anyone could join on PC, had 2,388 players. That's it, okay? That is it. Now, we don't know how much PlayStation had. It probably had way more, because there's a huge shortage of games to play, but this didn't look good at all. An open beta usually receives many players because it's free and people are curious, but this showed that even people's curiosity wasn't enough to play a free game. But why? What was the logic here? How did players really feel? The people in this thread make some very good points. The top comment says, it's a hero shooter that requires a PSN account. It's going to cost $40 and doesn't look that great to begin with. What did they expect? And look at this reply right here. This costs money? I thought it was going to be free, lol. Who's charging for hero shooters nowadays? So thanks to this
True,
open beta,
true.
people were finding out, wait a second, this costs money. I wasn't even that interested to begin with. Now I'm not interested at all. To make matters worse, they weren't just going to charge you $40 to buy the game, but no, you also had internal microtransactions. I mean, it's a live service game, guys. They want to milk you as much as possible, but the developers were sure to let you know that, guys, don't worry. It's only cosmetic, which made people obviously dislike the game more and want to avoid it. But don't worry, guys, it was all just noise. They're just a bunch of bigoted haters. We're going to carry on with our top tier marketing and let the game speak for itself. I mean, look at this controller. Doesn't that actually look sick? Like, objectively, I would actually buy this. Not the game, though. Keep the game away from me, but I would buy this controller. This is sick. Damn, maybe their marketing isn't that bad. But that's not all. You also had first-party PlayStation studios participate in the marketing, like Sucker Punch Productions' post featuring a character from one of their games with a character from Concord. How cool is that? Now, I saw some people say, wow, Sony's so desperate having all their studios make art with Concord. But buddy, listen, I've been following PlayStation and their studios on Facebook since I was like 12 years old, and I can tell you, even back then, they did this. They do this to any game launching from a first-party studio. It's just, it's nothing special. But it just showed how much they were banking on this. They were treating this game like yet another first-party launch, as if it's from Sucker Punch or Insomniac. You want to know what the difference is, though? Usually, they don't have to turn off replies. Usually, they don't have to do that. This makes it definitely unique, that's for sure. Now, Naughty Dog didn't do any art, but they still advertised the game. But they hit some replies. Again, something you don't typically see on a post like this. And yes, it's blurred because there's a few words here that would immediately demonetize the video. PlayStation's account announced this too, and look, the marketing was in full swing. A new first-party game had just come out. Let's make some noise. The lead character designer of Firewalk Studios, of Concord, made a tweet when the game launched saying, today Firewalk Studios launched Play Concord. The game has been in development for around 8 years. Yes, 8. 8. The number before 9. And I've been there for almost 5 of them. We don't get a lot of launch days in our careers, so today is special for a ton of reasons. Oblige me some good vibes today. This was the first time that this information was revealed to us. No one really quite understood when the game started development and when it finished. 8 years. People were absolutely baffled. And speaking of baffled, people just couldn't believe how unlikable some of the developers on this team were. It didn't just have to do with them not being able to take any feedback or criticism, but it also had to do with how, well, they'd insult the entire player base. Like this ex-developer right here tweeting out when the game came out, saying, "It's Concord release day. So insanely proud of the team and what they and we have accomplished. A labor of love like nothing else. Been playing it so much since early access started a few days ago, and I'm so excited for it to be available to everyone." He then continues and says, "And I'm so honored to have had this be my first AAA game. It was a huge learning experience, lots of struggles, but I'm glad to have gone through them. Time to go play."
Wait a minute. How can a live service game be a AAA game? Like, I would have understood how have they been working on this thing for 8 years if it was a single player game. But, bro, this is a 5v5 hero shooter. 8 years is a bit too much. You should have pulled the plug on that project for a long while. Or, if you wanted to win your money back, or at least some of your money back that you spent on this dead-ass game, keep it free, keep the service live, just add a fucking battle pass system.
Then someone replied, saying, "I'm so sorry this has to be your first. I do not believe it is you or any of the other developers' fault that this game has performed so poorly. I can tell that a lot of effort was put into completing this game. It just came out at the wrong time and genre." The ex-developer replied with this, saying, I don't really care. It was a huge labor from a lot of insanely talented people making an awesome game. Why would I care about a bunch of talentless freaks hating on it? I'm sure having fun playing it, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. Another user came in and said, "Talentless freaks? I actually came to drop some positive criticism, but get f***ed. Clearly based on the game, you're the one with no talent. The developers were getting a lot of criticism, a lot of warranted criticism, I should add. But their attitude was that it was all toxic, bigoted noise, that anything those players were saying was unwarranted. It was starting to get clear how this game got made over the span of 8 years. This wasn't about receiving good feedback. They were in an echo chamber, patting themselves on the back every day, truly thinking that they were going to come up with the next big hit that will revolutionize gaming. Otherwise, they wouldn't have this attitude. So when the game launched, ignore these numbers, okay? The game's been already shut down, but when the game launched, they peaked at 660, yeah, 660, not too bad, 660 players on August 23rd, around the time it launched, but then kept going down without increasing again. This was a game that was $40, developed over the course of 8 years, and it was doing worse than an indie game made by one person. But of course, the idea here is that this is PC. Well, I have a good estimate of how much they sold on PlayStation from reliable sources, and we'll get to that later, but let me tell you, it's a catastrophe. Now at this point, people were asking themselves, what's next? Because this wasn't the first time we saw a live service game failure, an utter failure. Earlier in the same year of 2024, we witnessed a catastrophe of a game, Suicide Squad by Rocksteady Studios. I'm not even joking, I think I have to censor the game's name because of YouTube's policies. This led to a $200 million hit to revenue because it sold so poorly, but the game is still live today. You can still play it, even though there's like barely 100 players at any time.
I mean, but it's still live, right? And it still probably has a battle pass integrated into it. Like, I am expecting this from those types of games. Like, I believe that this game, like the one that we can see on screen right now, I don't even want to say its name because I don't know if it's bannable by Twitch or not. But I don't know. This game is still live. It probably has a battle pass integrated into it, which makes sense. Keeping in mind what has gone down with it. But I didn't know about the drama around the game that we can see on screen right now. I didn't know that it flopped that much. But if it's also a team-based hero shooter, then I would understand why.
Playing this game, they just didn't shut it down yet. So people weren't expecting Sony to admit their failure, but they did, and it was extremely quick. Barely 2 weeks after the game had released, Sony said, yeah, you know what, guys, we're shutting down the servers and everyone's getting a refund. Like, immediately. It didn't even take a month. People were saying this game's gonna die in a month while they were joking, but little did they know it was only going to take barely 2 weeks. They were extremely quick with that decision. On September 3rd, the game director at Firewalk Studios, Ryan Ellis, made a post on PlayStation Blog saying an important update on Concord. It was very brief, but it said all you needed to really know. Concord fans, we've been listening closely to your feedback since the launch of Concord on PlayStation 5 and PC and want to thank everyone who has joined the journey aboard the North Star. Does he mean looking at all the feedback and calling everyone talentless freaks? Is that what he means? Anyway,
Perhaps.
he continues,
You never know.
your support and the passionate community that has grown around the game has meant the world to us. However, while many qualities of the experience resonated with players, we also recognize that other aspects of the game and our initial launch didn't land the way we'd intended. Therefore, at this time, we have decided to take the game offline beginning September 6th, 2024, and explore options, including those that will better reach our players. While we determine the best path ahead, Concord sales will cease immediately and we will begin to offer a full refund for all gamers who have purchased the game for PC or PS5. If you purchased the game for PlayStation 5 from the PlayStation Store or PlayStation Direct, a refund will be issued back to your original payment method. We'll keep you updated, and thank you again to all the free gunners who have joined us in the Concord Galaxy. And that was pretty much it. This game had a full-on roadmap already outlining Season 1 and 2. They were going to add new characters to play, new maps, quality of life updates, and we are never going to see this. This game did not even make it to Season 1. An absolute waste of both time and money. Now, PlayStation players were not going to let this stop them from getting the Platinum Trophy, especially for a rare game that won't exist anymore. So they started queuing up for games and throwing themselves off the maps as quickly as possible to end the games as quickly as possible so that they can re-queue to a different game and get all the achievements quickly. But guys, why did this happen? Why
Wow.
did the game just stop in 2 weeks? I mean, the
Were they
gameplay
really
looks
that
fun. I'll
desperate?
admit it. It does. It looks fluid. It looks cool. I thought gamers only cared about gameplay. How come this just flopped as hard as it did?
Because it's another game. Same as everything else.
The developers were absolutely convinced that one of the main appeals of their game was going to be the characters. Everything from their interactions, their dialogue, the way
To be fair, there are some characters which are interesting, but I don't think that I like per se any of them.
they look, the way they act. So I really wonder what went wrong here. I really wonder why the game flopped. Look, I can sit here for hours and tell you why this game has zero art direction, how some of the most fundamental principles of art weren't even applied here. But I won't, because all you realistically need to do in this situation is ask yourself this question. Is an animator with a Patreon going to spend 100 hours animating these two characters scissoring? Yes or no? Come on, just answer the question. It's a
Nope.
no, right? Come on.
Obviously.
It's a no, obviously. That's why the game failed. That's why the game failed. Okay, on a serious note, look at Venture from Overwatch. This is a character who is not conventionally attractive in any way, but that doesn't matter because you can clearly see a fundamental aspect of art on her at all times, and that's called storytelling. Everything from her gear to her outfit to her messy hair to her piercings to her broken tooth. Everything tells me that there's a story behind this character. There's depth. This is one of the first things you are taught in art. Now give me one character in Concord that has this, that has storytelling. Actually, let me save you the trouble. You can't. You just have ugly generic characters wearing ugly generic armor, yapping ugly generic dialogue. Yes, gameplay is absolutely king, but I think this is one of the unique cases where the art direction and aesthetics of this game were so fucking ugly that they actually undermined the gameplay just because of how bad it was to look at. It's actually impressive, in a really bad way, of course. That was simply the cold hard truth. But don't worry, because the circus was only getting started, and this time it wasn't just the developers, it was Sony itself. Here's what the president and COO of Sony had to say while this was all going on in a Financial Times interview. Whether it's for games, films, or anime, we don't have that much IP that we fostered from the beginning. Can you believe that? Can you just take a second, take a step back? Can you believe that? This person right here said exactly what I wanted to say in 14 seconds. Yikes. After that Concord oopsie, we clearly don't have enough IP. Also Sony. Alright, let's see. Oh my god, Infamous. Killzone. Oh my god. Resistance. SOCOM. Twisted Metal. Uncharted. Dude, $100 million could have done so much here. CEOs at Sony wondering what the hell do gamers want after their massive $300 million Concord flop. How can Sony be saved? And the elephant in the room is Bloodborne Remastered. Bro, oh my god. Not only just remastered, release this on PC, you'll make more money than you've ever made developing Concord, you idiots.
I mean, yeah, the saddest part of Bloodborne is that it's PlayStation exclusive, so that's there for you.
This is especially frustrating to everyone because in the beginning of this year of 2024, Sony laid off 900 PlayStation employees. 8%
I wonder why.
of its headcount. They impacted studios like Insomniac Games, Naughty Dog, Guerrilla Games, and even Firesprite, a smaller studio. And it's like, why? Like, while you were working on Concord, this is what you were funding, this is what you were worried about, while you laid off people from every single one of these studios? And what's even more ridiculous right now is that as they were taking down the servers of Concord, a new PlayStation exclusive came out by the name of Astrobot, developed by the remnants of a studio Sony had shut down, which was called Japan Studio. This is a game developed in 3 years by 65 developers. It's a platformer. It's a very, very simple game. But guys, look at these reviews. Dude, you would think this is like a new game from Sucker Punch or Guerrilla Games or whatever, right? Or Insomniac. Look at these reviews. 93 on Metacritic. This is their best rated game of the entire year. It is now being praised by everyone. I think that Concord coming out just recently made people appreciate it way more than they would have. So hey, kudos to them. That's great because Concord failed massively. Let's talk specific numbers. So as I mentioned, thanks to the lead character designer of Concord, we now know that the game had taken 8 years to develop. But here's the thing, not only did Concord peak at barely 600 players on Steam, but also on PlayStation, the main console it was meant to come out for, and the console with barely any games to play, industry analysts estimate that it had sold around 25,000 units. This means $1 million. Now look, $1 million is not a small amount of money, but seeing that the game cost around 9 figures, so we're talking $100 million minimum. We don't have the exact figure here, but 8 years of development costs in a studio based in Seattle, so Washington State, one of the most expensive states in the United States. Yeah, costs are going to add up like crazy. As far as I know, there has never been an instance where a game flopped so hard compared to its budget in the entire history of video games, like ever. It is so shockingly embarrassing, it's hard to believe. And the embarrassment doesn't end here. You might have heard of the show called Love, Death, and Robots that's available on Netflix. It's either 3D animated or 2D animated, you know, the art styles do differ, but each episode contains its own story. They're completely independent of each other, and it was a massive success. So Amazon had hired the people behind the show to make something for them with that same style, you know, a different episode with a different story every time based on video games. So they have like one episode for Pac-Man, one episode for God of War, etc. And one of those episodes was going to be about Concord, and the game didn't even make it far enough for the show to come out. It's coming out in December, and here are all the games that are going to be featured, including Concord. And you have to understand, this is probably going to be a full 3D CGI episode, and those are not cheap to make. Regardless though, Amazon was reached out to ask if this episode is staying in there, and they said yes it is. And I mean, they have to. It costs so much money. It's probably done by now. But I mean, it's just so embarrassing. And honestly, I doubt the fact that if I were to watch it, it would change my opinion on the game. It's probably going to be very cheesy, very generic. And again, I don't think I'm going to find one character I'm going to like in there. But now what happens?
Makes
8 years,
sense,
over $100
honestly.
million down the drain. What are they going to do? Well, they're going to start reworking some things. Not enough to change everyone's minds, but maybe enough to relaunch as a free-to-play game. Or they just get a big, fat tax write-off over the fact that this game generated only $1 million in revenue. Similarly to how Warner Brothers shelved Coyote versus Acme to get a $30 million tax write-off, as far as I know, this same thing can be done here. Look, I'm not really worried about Sony. The real people going through it right now are the people who worked on this game. There's a senior concept artist by the name of Amanda Kiefer, who on her now private Twitter account expressed this: the character concept art team, including myself, is going through an extremely difficult time emotionally, and some on the team no longer want to work in games, design characters, or even do art anymore after this. Because of this, posts like yours, though understandable, are unfortunately ill-timed. None of us know which way the wind will blow with the studio. We are worried sick and terrified of the future. Not only that, but we have been shouldering the brunt of the emotional labor as executives/directors dodge most of the blame. Behind the scenes of all this talk about Concord and character designs, people's livelihoods are at risk, and there are very real financial consequences that might hurt us even more. Now look, I would feel sorry for her, but after comments like these, I don't. This is her saying, pretty soon these weirdos will have no games to buy at all, referencing the people criticizing how shit the art looks. These people have an attitude. They hate the people they're making the game for, they look at customers like they're beneath them, and they think they can get away with whatever they want. Well, newsflash, they can't. You worked on this game for God knows how long, for years probably. You've collected your salary every month during those years. First off, other than scamming the studio, because you clearly don't know what the hell you're doing, you now can't complain that because of your bad job, you'll be fired. I'm sure there are some good people, genuine good people in this studio who are getting fired because of the work of others. I feel especially bad for anyone who worked in the gameplay department because the game is fun. But for people like Amanda, all I have to say is, look, if working for video games sucks so much, if you hate the customers so much, go do something else and put the fries in the bag. Thank you.
True,
Concord is a
true.
lesson that live service games can very rarely actually work, and if they do, there has to be an actual good game behind it, as well as the fact that gaming evolves very quickly. 8 years ago was a completely different landscape. Overwatch had just come out. Team shooters were everything you'd ever care for, but now we're in 2024, things have changed massively. You can't take this long to produce a game like this that's following trends. And if you do, then you sure as hell better make a good one, not this bland piece of generic trash. Are executives gonna learn from their lesson here?
Well, it's not exactly a trash game. Like, I wouldn't call it a trash game. I would call it an interesting game, gameplay wise, and yet the characters are so bland and forgettable that the game only relies on gameplay. And at some point, the gameplay is also gonna get bland. So I can slightly agree that this is a bad game, but I don't know, man. Like, I would have liked to try the game for myself, but then again, I'm already too late for that one, aren't I? Not that I was gonna buy it or anything. I just wanted to try it on the free beta, supposedly, which supposedly was free. But oh well, too late now.
Probably not. Do I think the studio is going to get laid off and probably shut down or something? Yeah, probably. Did we get anything out of this? Yeah, we got to laugh our asses off. We got to, hey, listen, I'm over here enjoying this. This is hilarious. And I'm sure bad games like this will continue.
Honestly, I'm not really enjoying this, to be fair. Like, Sony just, I don't know, bro. Japan is the land of video games, in my opinion. Most of the video games back in the day have originated or have been inspired by some Japanese game or something like that. That's why they say that Japan is kind of the origin of video games. And to be fair, how can. Wait, let me actually think about it. How can they expect a strategy that worked 80 years ago to work right now? Like, clearly, their idea was look at Overwatch. Overwatch already lost its spotlight. It already tried to re-release the game under a second title, which was obviously Overwatch 2. And they're just trying to salvage the game any way they can. And Sony were like, okay, let's do that. Same thing. But we're gonna spend more money on the gameplay. Whatever's left of it is gonna go towards artwork and character CGI's development and whatever else, but the main source of our money is gonna get towards the game. Who thought that this thing would take 80 years to produce? I wouldn't have. Overwatch, from what I hear, took Blizzard about 3, 4 years, something like that. But 80 years to produce this thing. Like, they basically started work on this game when Overwatch released. And they've been working on it up until now, spending more and more and more money on it, putting it all into the gameplay. When essentially you have Overwatch and Apex Legends mixed together. Like, you have the type of game that Overwatch is, and you have the graphics of Apex Legends. Like, and you spend $200 million on this game to make it, just to be another generic live service game. And 2 weeks after release, you just decide, nope, I'm not even gonna bother trying Battle Pass system. I'm just gonna delete the game of existence, just like that. Nice, nice. Like, I don't understand who in the Sony studio was like, yeah, this is a good investment. This is so much money that we could have invested into something else. But no, we're just gonna invest it into a live service game. Not gonna lie, from what I see and hear, from gameplay and from art direction, I do like it. Yeah, I do agree that the base skins for each and every character are pretty meh and pretty disinteresting. But think about it. Later on, they were gonna add skins for the characters anyway. So even if you didn't like them, then you could have just bought a skin for the character. Easy as that. But oh well. I guess it is what it is then. The game's already shut down. We can't do anything about it. Sony fumbled the bag, and that's it. They didn't even try to solve it, to salvage it. Now all of the money that they lost from this game is like they're trying to get it back by upping their prices on certain products that they're trying to sell you. They're laying down some of the studios and some of the employees that are working just so they can save money. Because they don't have the fucking money. Like they already fucking spent it. This is 200 million we're talking about. Do you even know how much money that is? Money beyond your wildest imaginations have gone into this shit right here on screen. And I can't fucking believe that this thing costs $200 million. I would have thought that this costed about 1 million. Maybe even less. I don't know, bro. I don't know what to tell you.
Coming out until companies genuinely can't afford to do it anymore. But until then, I'll still be laughing and I'll probably make another video about it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video. Love you. Mwah.
Yeah, definitely, dude. I love Mujin's videos because he does a fair criticism towards the things that he's talking about. And I do support him in most of his opinions. Because there are some opinions of his that he obviously gives in his videos, which I don't agree with 100%. I agree to them to some extent, but not 1,000, 100, yada 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 percent. But I do like him. He's a cool dude, making informational videos, deep diving into some stories that are actually pretty interesting, at least in my opinion, to hear and to see. But yeah, okay. Let's play some lo-fi on the background. Oh fuck. No copyright lo-fi. Let me just play some music on the background while I'm gone, because I gotta go use the restroom real quick, and I'm gonna be right back. Okay. After I come back, we continue with some other video of Mujin's, because I do love his videos. And I do want to vibe tonight. Like, I don't want to play so much, but I just want to vibe. Okay, I'm gonna go use the restroom, and when I come back, we keep on watching some more videos of Mujins. Okay, I'm back. I don't know why do my clips not want to play, but oh well, I guess it is what it is. Okay, let's just stop this thing. What is this? Ah, more streaming. Nice. Um, what do we watch now though? Hmm. Evo. Honkai Star Rail hired a PR disaster as voice actor. Wait, is that the Chris Niosi situation? Okay, then I get it. Uh, under the age of 16, inside the inside the disturbing reality of a Diddy party. Okay, can we watch something else? Debunking the biggest misinformation war in the gacha game history. Okay, I actually want to watch that.
Guys, can we please stop doing this? After almost 4 years since Genshin Impact's release, we finally have a worthy competitor. And instead of focusing about what makes this game special or unique, or maybe enjoying both games, we have people using the term Genshin Impact Killer, taking us on one hell of a throwback from like 20 years
Wow.
ago when any time a game in the MMO
Wow.
category came out after World of Warcraft, all news articles and the entire community that didn't want to play World of Warcraft would call it the World of Warcraft killer. But as you can see from this tier list over here, nothing worked, and the only things that can actually kill World of Warcraft are Blizzard themselves. This sucks to do because it puts very unrealistic expectations on those games that are coming out and hinders them, even though they could be good games by themselves. Here's the thing though, even though all these games were touted as World of Warcraft killers, the controversy surrounding the communities is nothing compared to what's been going on between Genshin Impact and Wuthering Waves. You have to understand the amount of outright misinformation and exaggeration and just false narratives that have been going on just this last week has been insane. Like, look, look at this image, for example. I'm sure you've seen this if you've been keeping up with this drama. This is an image of someone holding up their phone, launching Wuthering Waves while in MiHoYo's HQ in Shanghai, who are the creators of Genshin Impact. This image spread like wildfire under the narrative of, oh look, even Genshin Impact developers are playing this game, it's so good, they can't even hide it anymore. Dude, listen, what if I told you that I personally know who took this picture, why they took it, and how I can guarantee you, I can give you proof that they're not a MiHoYo employee. It's just insane. This thing spread everywhere. But unfortunately, it hasn't just been some dumb things. There are some aspects of this misinformation that spread around like crazy that can endanger careers of voice actors and Kuro Games, which are the developers of Wuthering Waves, as a whole. So I thought I'd make this video to kind of go over some of the most asinine takes from people on both sides because they're both complicit, and just laugh about it while giving you some very well needed context. So strap in because it's going to be
Wait.
crazy. But first,
I
a
want you
60
to
second
actually
ad.
be able
If you've
to
been
see.
itching for a classic style MMORPG, then Terraslance see on this pre this video. First legitimate competitor to Genshin Impact. Let's completely forget about Tower of Fantasy. That was an absolute disaster. I wouldn't even like put it in the same category at this point. They've had somewhat of a rough launch, okay? There were performance issues both on PC and mobile, and while unfortunately it's become the norm in the gaming industry in general, they were very quick on their feet, released hotfixes almost every single day, and gave rewards that players could never imagine seeing in their competitors' games. Now, despite these performance issues, guys, they've achieved the #1 spot for downloads on the top charts in over 100 regions, okay? They're doing very well. But there is one issue that even the most hardcore Wuthering Waves fans can't deny, and that is the extremely disappointing and inconsistent English dub. In particular, the female protagonist. You can pick either male or female, right? I picked female. Don't take my word for it. Look at this scene, which is meant to be intense, with a very important battle going on. Just listen to this. Just listen to this.
Interesting. Do you really think you can trap me here?
You will not escape.
What the fuck was that?
And play with you a bit longer. Till we meet again, dear friends.
You're not going anywhere.
It wasn't just in combat, though. This is the same character talking to herself in an internal monologue during an investigation type quest. Okay, let's see the voice acting.
Part of the building is submerged. I should be able to find the hidden path underwater. It seems I have a puzzle to solve.
Wow.
Guess I will check the mechanism in the middle
Wow.
first.
Hello, I am currently voice acting for Wuthering Waves. Now look, there have been many theories surrounding why
Yeah,
the
dude,
voice acting
that's-
was
that's the
subpar in
same
English
thing.
while being amazing, and I mean top tier in Japanese, Chinese, and Korean. Of course, people just couldn't accept like a boring reason, like I don't know, there was a lack of direction or communication or something like that. No. It had to be a conspiracy theory. This is where this absolute clown, this absolute buffoon by the name of Saint Taint or Titties, whatever the hell his name is, came out with a video. Was Wuthering Waves sabotaged by Hoyoverse? Did Genshin Impact's developer sabotage it directly? Question mark?
Wow.
With
Wow.
77,000 views, okay? What does Saint Taint have to say? All right, 1.25 speed. Cue the circus music. Let's go.
Wuthering Waves has taken over the United States.
Yep.
Kuro Games, the developer for Wuthering Waves, is confident in its success. Interest has grown rapidly over the past few weeks as Kuro ramps up their marketing and advertising efforts prior to
Normal,
release.
normal.
Kuro has accomplished this in the gacha space despite losing many of its potential content creators to Hoyoverse's predatory preferred creator contract, which legally
Already off to a great start. All right, so all these content creators are known for their Genshin content, and they've all since then have been playing Wuthering Waves, except Asian Guy Stream, but he has expressed that he's quitting content creation. So not even 30 seconds in, and this guy is just spewing bullshit. This contract he's referencing is very simple. It leaked around a month ago and is from a company called Yamiholic. It's a marketing agency, and Hoyoverse will typically hire multiple of these agencies to seek out content creators who are usually smaller or up and coming and give them access to a game like Zenless Zone Zero that's very hard to get into during the closed beta, and in return, they'll ask for them to do a bunch of stuff. Now, in that contract, this clause right here made a lot of people panic. It says, the content creator shall promptly notify Yamiholic if any other gaming brand intends to sponsor their content. Yamiholic has full discretion to reject sponsorships that could be detrimental to Zenless Zone Zero or the content creator's reputation. So their role doesn't just become a marketing agency, they also present themselves as your agent. It's scummy, it's predatory, and usually the people who fall for this are smaller content creators who don't have an agent. Even I was reached out by a similar company back when I initially was blowing up with my interactive map videos. And since they kind of take the role of an agent, you can very easily see in multiple YouTubers' channels, in their description, they usually will say affiliated with this company, affiliated with that company. It means that this marketing agency has become their agent. And yeah, most likely they can't really talk about competitors without their permission. So yeah, this is important because it'll show up again in the video, right? So yeah. Now check this out. This is really where the theory crafting starts to take place. He's referencing the English voice actors for Wuthering Waves.
Looking at the roster, it's quite strange that we're seeing so few names that we're traditionally familiar with in the gacha
That you're
anime
familiar
space. Big names like Rihanna Knickerbocker, Demon
Genshin
Mills,
Impact,
and
Honkai
Caleb
Star
Lim
Rail.
are surprisingly
Honkai
absent
Star Rail again.
despite previous involvement in many gacha titles. One of those titles, ironically enough, includes Punishing Gray Raven. Coincidence or not,
Punishing Gray Raven is the game that Kuro Games made before Wuthering Waves, right? So all these
Yep.
voice actors from Genshin, Honkai Star Rail, were in Punishing Gray Raven. Just keep this in mind as this guy keeps talking, all right?
all of these big
They
TVs are
weren't.
nowhere to be found.
Uh-huh.
Wait a minute. Wait. I want to hear what Mujin just said again.
All these voice actors from Genshin, Honkai Star Rail, were in Punishing Gray Raven. Just
Wait a minute. I want to hear it again.
Punishing Gray Raven is the game that Kuro Games made before Wuthering Waves, right? So all these voice actors from Genshin, Honkai Star Rail, were in Punishing
Were in Punishing Gray Raven. Usually I'm not a picky guy. But dude, Punishing Gray Raven doesn't even have a dub voice acting whatsoever. So I don't know if these guys are speaking Japanese, but I know that I never heard them. Even if they were speaking Japanese, I never heard them. So I don't know what you're talking about.
Gray Raven. Just keep this in mind as this guy keeps talking, all right?
All of these big ticket VAs are nowhere to be found.
Uh-huh.
This becomes even more questionable knowing that Skylar Davenport, the voice actor for March 7th from Hoyoverse's turn-based strategy game Hong
Yeah,
Kong Star Rail,
we know her.
also the voice of Bianca from Punishing Gray
Oh,
Radio,
wow.
was the original voice for Yang Yang in the earliest closed beta test.
I
In
see.
the current state of the game, her VA is Rebecca Yo. Skylar Davenport is a talented actress that has
Yeah, she is.
historically
She is.
delivered in her previous role with Kuro Games. Why would Kuro Games replace a tenured VA for their largest budget game?
I don't know.
Wait. I want to test that theory. I have PGR installed. Let me actually see if it needs any kind of updating or anything like that. No? Okay. Let me check the settings. Okay. Enter. We're gonna keep on watching the video. I just want to see if PGR actually has English voice acting, because I have never heard it in my entire life. Like, my PGR has always been in Japanese ever since the beginning of the game. Like, ever since I started playing the game. And I started playing the game when it came out on PC. So,
I don't
A
know.
VA that has only had one role prior over 2 years ago.
Yeah, let's just insult her.
How much dialogue had to be rewritten to accommodate for new
Oh
VAs?
my god.
It's clear that something is going on behind the scenes.
Is it?
Were the delays in the English dub for the Wuthering Waves CBT caused by even more anti-compete agreements by Hoyoverse behind the scenes with its VA contractors? This is a disturbing trend. that
Very
Hoyoverse
disturbing,
is
guys.
actively developing within the gacha space and video games as a whole. The ability to deny resources and talent to your competitors
Absolutely.
through predatory employment agreements is
This is Hoyoverse right here. You heard it here first. So of course these accusations are huge, not just because they
wait. Oh, wait. Fuck. Give me a second. Let me just log in into my PGR account. Okay. Let's see. I'm in the European server. Let me actually see if this game has an English voice acting, because I have never heard it in my entire fucking life. Ever since I started playing PGR. I've always known that it has English, Chinese and Japanese, but I've never heard it in English. I actually want to hear it. Okay, I don't wanna do anything in PGR right now. Or we can do something in PGR the upcoming days, but not right now. Okay, so settings. Are you fucking serious? Japanese, Tonga, and English. Voice settings. What? Since when does PGR have English voice acting? Wait, I wanna hear it. Actually, I wanna hear it.
You're keeping an eye on my left hand. Do you want to know what would happen if I untie it? I can show you if you want to level this place to the ground. Never mind. There's always next time.
What? What? I have never known that this thing actually has a fucking English voice acting. What? Bro. When the fuck did they add it? What? Nah. There's no way. What the fuck? Wait.
What are you expecting from me?
That is from Alpha, mind you. Wait, I wanna hear... Fuck. Don't I have Garnet equipped?
Hey, tell me a joke. Anything as long as it's fun. That's fine. I just want to see you racking your brain.
That doesn't fit Rosetta, bro. Rosetta is more like a mommy vibe. And this one is just a little girl. Like, maybe not a little girl, but more like 17, 18-year-old girl. Like, bruh. Rosetta, fuck. Vera. Okay. Okay, apparently PGR has an English dub voice acting. I didn't know that. Now I know. Great.
They put Hoyoverse as a very bad actor in the industry, but it's also implying that these voice actors who did work for Hoyoverse are just money hungry and will sign any contract that takes away their rights as long as they get the money, baby. This video has 77,000 views, right? And all the comments are them being like, wow, this sounds illegal. Holy moly. This makes me want to support Kuro more. This is really weird. And it only continues to worsen this war, this nuclear meltdown between the two communities. Thankfully, though, once this spread a bit too much, voice actors finally spoke up. Sayu, who is a VTuber and who voices both Jingwan from Honkai Star Rail and Sino from Genshin Impact, uploaded this video on his VOD channel saying, "Let's talk, stop lying on my name." Look, this is one of the first things he says in this video.
One more thing before we get into Wuthering Waves. Would you voice in Wuthering Waves given the chance? Yes, I would love to.
So, just the first 5 seconds is him saying, yes, I would love to voice for Wuthering Waves. And he goes on to say that this is completely false. There is no exclusivity clause in the contract that says you cannot voice just for Wuthering Waves. In fact, the voice acting industry is so competitive that you'd be an idiot to sign something like this, especially when you have an agent that will tell you, hey, do not sign this contract. It simply turns out that the studio Kuro Games chose to hire was in London. And contrary to what you might think, especially after the pandemic and remote work, you will almost always be asked to go to a studio to record. You'll never be asked to do it from home, although, you know, maybe very rarely. All these well-known voice actors in the gacha and anime space are located in Los Angeles. It's not to say that there aren't any good ones in London, it's just that maybe some of the ones you're used to aren't. So of course, when it comes to someone like Sayu or Alejandro, which is, you know, his real name that he goes by in the voice acting industry, asking him to fly from LA to London just to record for one game is asking a bit too much. Because many of these voice actors are in very high demand and a trip through the Atlantic is gonna be very taxing. And as to why English voice acting in Wuthering Waves suffered greatly, it seems to be a lack of solid direction. Do I think the female Rover's voice actress is bad? Hell no! I wouldn't even begin to think that. Look, you're probably not a voice actor watching. If I asked you, hey, can you say the line, "I'll kill them all," in the context of a very important battle, you'll probably be like, "I'll kill them all." You'll give a good performance. If I just tell you, hey, can you just say the phrase, "I'll kill them all," without giving you any context as to why you're saying it, it's gonna sound like this.
You're not going anywhere.
So as far as I know, Kuro Games have taken in the feedback and they're working on it,
Okay.
right? They're gonna revisit the English dub and they're gonna stop forcing their British voice actors to force an American accent, which really didn't help, by the way. It made them very uncomfortable. And that's it, there wasn't a huge conspiracy theory. Now, of course, after Sayu and multiple other voice actors came out to say this, Saint Taint, even though he uploaded this 2 weeks ago, came out with an edited pinned comment 2 days ago, wrote 4 paragraphs. Guys, listen, I'm gonna save you time. You can read this if you want. Ignore all these 3. Let's just focus on the 4th one because this is the best part out of all this. This video dives into a hypothetical explanation for Wuthering Waves, let's be honest, troubles in the English voice work. It's clear that the lack of experience on some of the cast members has led to dips in quality on release. Like I mentioned in the video, it's very odd that Kuro would go with a whole new direction for one of their biggest budget games to less than satisfactory results. The keyword is hypothetical. It's an explanation for what could have happened, not a statement of fact. Me spreading misinformation would require me to know the terms, conditions, and restrictions of every voice actor's contracts and deliberately construct a false narrative, which is exactly what you did, by the way. If you think I had that knowledge 14 days ago when this video script was written, seek guidance. Let's just 1 second.
Actually.
A questionable practices. Their success in monopolizing some of the most important aspects of a game's longevity and appeal should be a massive cause for concern.
Hypothetical, by the way.
Gacha community.
This is just
It's
a theory.
abundantly clear that Hoyo has made active attempts to sabotage Wuthering Waves' closed beta test and first impressions, restricting voice actors at the most inopportune times. Likely the direct cause for the lack of English dubbed in the
Guys,
most
this is a
recent CBT.
hypothetical statement.
It
Chill.
would be very convenient if a contract from a signed Hoyoverse VA was leaked in the coming weeks. I think we'd find some shocking similarities with the previous.
It would be very, very convenient if someone's contract leak causing them to lose a job and have a terrible reputation in the voice acting industry. You know, it would be very cool if someone would do that, dude. Listen, he is a clown, okay? He is an absolute buffoon. He has, all in the same 6 minutes, insulted the current voice actors on Wuthering Waves, spread misinformation like crazy, and when he finally got caught in a corner, he just doubles down and just like, hey, it wasn't me. Like, I'm just saying, like, maybe. It really is unfortunate that something like this took so many people's attention away from the very simple issue that is just a lack of coordination in the English voice acting. And of course, it made the drama worse. You know, due to videos like whatever the hell his name is, Taint or whatever, content creators have been dealing with many people giving them shit for either playing or not playing Wuthering Waves. So you're in this dilemma. If you say anything positive about Wuthering Waves coming from Genshin, you're accused of being sponsored. And if you don't say anything positive, then you're also accused of being sponsored by Genshin Impact or Hoyoverse. His Hoyo contract requires him to shit on Wuthering Waves. So again, this only serves to fan the flames on this conflict between these two communities. But while this already is crazy, we're still at the tip of the iceberg here. This image is arguably one of the funniest things to come out from the drama between Genshin and Wuthering Waves. Not because of what it means, but because the whole thing is a hoax. It's not real, and I have proof! The #1 news source for everything Wuthering Waves related, guys. Wuthering Waves Media. I'm sure I can trust everything they say. Let's check what this page has in store for us. Let's scroll down. Look at their pinned post. Seems like MiHoYo employees are really enjoying Wuthering Waves. With this image being attached, 800,000 people saw this with 36,000 likes. They pinned it because they're proud that it's their most viewed image. But this image, dude, okay, listen, let me just give you the full context here. This image actually originated from Wei's community. He does Genshin theory crafting vids. I highly recommend you subscribe to him. They're very high quality videos. In Wei's Discord, there's a viewer called Freaky Dawei that for whatever reason was at the MiHoYo Shanghai HQ. Not an employee, just visiting. To prove to Wei that it was actually him and he wasn't lying, he brought up his second phone and opened up Wei's channel and took an image in front of the reception of MiHoYo's HQ office. Pretty cool, right? But then he took it a step further and opened up Wuthering Waves on his second phone in front of that same reception. These are the two images Freaky Dawei posted. Now, I don't know how or why, like, how did it even spread so fast? I don't know. I mean, Wei was joking around saying, start Twitter war. But this image found itself on the biggest Wuthering Waves news source on Twitter, and it's their most liked and interacted with post of all time. This wasn't just limited to that page, though. The biggest Genshin Impact meme page, which loves to steal content from other people and block them when they ask for credit, also posted this on their Twitter. This is the embed right here. Them saying Hoyoverse devs playing Wuthering Waves. It has since been deleted, right? It was up for a few hours, but guys, they have 1.2 million followers, so the damage has been done. You even have Wei here quote tweeting this post saying, Pick on Left is not a Hoyoverse employee. But of course, people ignored it. The second pick, though, is, as far as I know, real, and it's someone who does work at MiHoYo who was streaming the game on Bilibili. And they were having a great time. You know why? Because developers aren't teenagers going through puberty. Let me give you an example. If you worked on Uncharted 4 for 3 to 4 years, you've been working on this thing 8 to 10 hours a goddamn day. By the time it releases, you could play it and enjoy it, but it will not be the same experience as someone who just started playing it for the first time with no interaction. Dude, you could play the damn thing and look at the rocks and think, I know the person who made the pack of rocks that's placed all over the map. So then what do? You see a game like Tomb Raider come out that has similar mechanics, and you play it with fascination. You're like, oh, so this is how they did this. Oh, I think they got inspired from us here, but did it better. Oh, so I'm curious how they did this. And you just have a great time. This is how developers act. You can have friendly competition in sports. Why not have it here too? But yeah, this image is this image is fake. It's fairly harmless though, but I wish I could say the same thing about this bombshell. So as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, Wuthering Waves had a bit of a rocky launch. But hey, to be fair, it is the biggest game that Kuro Games has ever launched. They apologized and they've been fixing it. It is what it is. But very recently, a post was made on r/Gacha Gaming with the title, "The real reason Wuthering Waves' optimization issue seems to be fine." The main Unreal Engine specialist, Jiff, was laid off 2 months before release, and whatever they added between last closed beta and actual release destroyed the optimization. Starts off the post with, "Let's start with evidence." Oh yeah. So this, unlike the internal leaked image, is quite a daring accusation. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you, I fully believed this when I first saw this, all right? But after doing some more digging, I have massive question marks around this entire post. Let's start with the evidence. The post by Jiff was made on Zihu, a blog website from what I understand, in China. And people were easily able to make the connection with who he is in this video, where he presented their workflows on Wuthering Waves in Unreal Fest Shanghai back in 2023. So this is him right here. He starts off by saying, 2 months after leaving Mingchao, which is Wuthering Waves, I got rid of a heavy burden mentally, physically, and in my outlook on life. I am undoubtedly feeling relaxed and happy. So here's how this post sums it up, right? This person who posted claims to know Chinese. So let's see. The first sentence says, been 2 months since I left Wuthering Waves. I'm feeling happy and relaxed, dropping the heavy burden on my body, my mind, and my moral compass. Says, notice that whatever this is quite thick here because it's in bold. Then doesn't really explain what it means. After some stuff related to traveling and meeting other devs in the past 2 months, he said, after all, this industry in China is really a desert of idealism. It neither lacks capital that is solely oriented towards profit, nor lacks companies that have no basic contract spirit. Nor hypocrites and real scoundrels who talk about being great in front of others and scheming in the end, behind their backs. Then says something about when choosing a partner to work with, I guess. Character should be your first priority. Not only what he says, but also what he does. Not only what he does and says to you, but also what he does to his past partners. Not only what those close to him say about him, it also depends on what past estranged partners think of him. So here the poster argues that whatever the hell this is pretty much insinuating that he's talking about the controversy that Kuro Games had in 2023 when they fired 100 fresh graduates they hired right before their probation period ended, right before they became full-time employees. As far as I could tell, listen, I don't know Mandarin, but as far as I could tell from all the research, this actually did happen. This is someone asking, it's rumored that Kuro Games is laying off a large number of employees. What is the real situation? They laid off the entire project team, or I guess project management team. And one of the people that responded was, thanks for the invitation. I'm one of the people on the layoff list. I have a vested interest, but I won't be anonymous. They said, I signed a labor contract with Kuro on December 1st, 2022, and Kuro unilaterally terminated the labor contract on May 29, 2023, 2 days before the end of the probation period on May 31st, on the grounds that I failed the probation period. After the first negotiation on compensation on May 24 failed, Kuro only notified me of the failure of the probation period on the afternoon of May 29 without discussing compensation. So at the time when this happened, it was actually a fairly big controversy in the gaming space in China. So did this occur because they expanded too fast and ran out of capital, or did it happen because of a more shady reason? Who knows? But I know for a fact that it did happen. The post here is saying that Jiff is hinting on what happened between him and Kuro's game management in relation to this, right? But to me, this feels like I'm in poetry class looking at a poet's work and thinking, oh yeah, he must have meant this. It's like, we don't know 100%. Then he references others' comments. The only time Jiff replies to a comment is here. Another commenter said, good thing you are gone, otherwise you would be losing so much higher working overnight. In which Jiff replied, optimization of the final closed beta 2 months ago was fine. I would be making stupid mistakes like this. And he's referencing the rocky release here. So this is that same comment translated with Google Translate. And it's kind of the same thing. Yeah, I mean, you know, it's hard to translate Mandarin in general. So from what Jiff had said so far, we can conclude that maybe, yes, there was some sort of discontent. I mean, the guy's saying, hey, I'm loving life right now after leaving 2 months ago. But everything else in this thread comes from hints or deductions, but nothing's 100% certain here. I mean, look, the entire speculation for the layoff is from a commenter saying layoffs before launch. Are they trying to reduce the number of people who will share year-end bonuses when the game becomes popular? I have seen this before. So his entire conclusion that it's a layoff comes from a comment on the thread. Now listen, I will say this though, okay? I wouldn't necessarily be surprised to know that he was laid off. I wouldn't necessarily be surprised that there is some dodgy stuff happening. Even though, yes, there are some very vague statements and deductions and speculations in this thread, there's a reason so many people upvoted this and believe this in the comments. It's a different language that many people don't understand, and people want an explanation as to why the launch was filled with bugs. But, and there's a very big but here, when I really took a step back and asked myself, wait a second, I can't believe this, is when I saw the person who posted it, Steamed Dumpling X. And oh man, this person, they're the embodiment of mental illness. Brace for impact, because we're heading to the fucking psych ward on this one. Look at this guy's YouTube channel. Yes, this is him, Steambun X. In his name, Hoyoshill. He gets very angry whenever you talk bad about Genshin Impact or Honkai Star Rail, and he has this very weird and almost borderline creepy obsession with Tectone. Like, look at his feed. Tectone, content creators who used to play Genshin who are now playing Wuthering Waves because it just released, true comedy, posting bugs with Wuthering Waves, saying that it's an underwhelming game, and of course, more Tectone. I mean, look at this. Kuro equals Nichi Sanji. This dude is such a troll. But I think the funniest thing about this guy is that when Genshin was losing over 1 million followers on their Chinese social media due to the 3 Intertwined Fates drama, you can watch my video about it if you have no idea what I'm talking about. You had both people who dislike Genshin and people who have had only a history of positivity with Genshin all unite together to criticize Hoiver's stupid decision. With the exception of Steambun X, of course. He made this video, The Strange Case of 3 Years, 3 Fates, and 3 million Unfollows Genshin 4.4 Drama Investigation, in which he was literally the only content creator on the planet, okay, maybe not, but you know, one of the only people to deny the fact that they lost any followers. There's this really funny 30-second clip of Tectone reacting to his video, and I mean, it says everything you need to know about him.
The other possibility is that the videos, and especially all the articles that is published in multiple language, are lying to you.
I don't believe that. I'm gonna check the graphs myself. I don't believe this. So I have another image of the follow fall off. I don't know what little bro is talking about. Whatever he put is completely wrong, because that did not happen to Genshin's analytics. And it's most likely because
What a surprise.
you got the follower version and you reported on a bugged out analytics page. So, yeah, no, that's completely wrong. And that took me 2 seconds.
Yep.
That took me 2 seconds to look into.
Look, this dude has tried to troll Genshin content creators, Honkai Star Rail creators, and now Wuthering Waves creators. He is known for that. Everyone just dismisses him automatically, especially after this video he made. And very recently, okay, this post was deleted, but I still have the tab open, thankfully. He posted again on Gacha Gaming, which has a hate boner for Wuthering Waves, by the way. That's another story. This post saying, stop doom posting Wuthering Waves. The viewer for Wuthering Wave have never gone lower than 20k for the past 4 days. I'm not accusing Wuthering Waves of view botting. This is only a praise post for Wuthering Waves, showing that it retains more players at night than even League of Legends. So this post is meant to be ironic in the unfunniest way possible. He made the same post on Twitter, and these are the images he used. He was comparing World of Warcraft, which gets around like 50k viewers peak every day, compared to Wuthering Waves, saying Wuthering Waves seems to have a very strong viewer retention at night where most Twitch viewers are not watching, so he's pretty much hinting at the idea that, oh, they're probably botting, this doesn't make any sense. He also accuses Xiox of view botting because he gained almost 2,000 followers in the snap of a finger when he switched to Wuthering Waves. And that when he was streaming the Genshin livestream, he only gained 80 followers. Genshin could never, with an S at the end, hinting that it's satire. Does anyone else think the stats look kind of weird? Gonna be absolute cinema, he says, so confidently, living in his own world. I imagine Steambun... I imagine this dude literally in like a home in the middle of nowhere by himself. He wakes up every day, talks to himself in the mirror, and thinks, man, dude, wait till everyone sees what I'm cooking. But no one cares! So of course, the loud bunch of some Hoyoverse games on Twitter would repost this post saying this is actually tragic, no wonder it was so choppy when it released, it's heartbreaking. Another Genshin player saying the fact that the story is finally spreading, like God, thank God, I was hoping this would happen. Many people, including maybe you watching right now, might have believed it like I did. And while yes, this post may be hinting
Not
at some
really, though.
foul play in terms of politics, in terms of bad coworkers, in terms of just employee dissatisfaction, it doesn't confirm that he was laid off. It doesn't confirm that it was done deliberately. The only thing I can very safely confirm to you today that I'm very confident about, that is 100% true, at the risk of ruining any relationship I might have with Kuro Games, is that yes, before release, their Wuthering Waves team was pretty much out of budget. It was doing pretty badly. And if you're a content creator who was in contact with them, you knew this. Many people on the marketing and content creator teams were being laid off. And they had like no funds for sponsors, period. For example, only a handful of streamers on Twitch got sponsored. Almost no one on YouTube got a sponsor. It's a miracle the game came out. So yeah, I would not be surprised if Jif got laid off. But to say that he got laid off specifically so that he doesn't get game release bonuses after working
No,
on the game
really.
for years is a massive accusation. And unless there's actual direct evidence, I just choose to not believe it because it's that much of a difference. Also, I'm adding this to the video on the day it's meant to release. Hi, I know I sound sick because I am. I wanted to point out that the mods on r/Gotcha Gaming actually deleted Steamed Bunex's post about all this. Apparently, they're taking a hard stance on hostility and drama farming, which is actually pretty cool. So hey, kudos to them. Anyway, let's get back to the normal video. So all these things combined, especially with the fact that we have someone extremely mentally ill making this post, completely changes my opinion. Kuro Games had a very rough period before launch, alright? But they're slowly recovering, and hopefully they can not only rehire the people that they fired, but they can manage their funds better. But even with
I mean, Kuro is not as big of a studio as MiHoYo, because MiHoYo has been on the market for how many years now again? And it took PGR quite a long while to develop a audience that was big enough for Kuro to actually earn enough so they can start working on Wuthering Waves. And when finally they released Wuthering Waves, obviously they spent a lot of money on it. Makes sense. Because they can spend as much as they want. It's a gacha game. It's gonna come back 3 times, if not 5 times more than what they have already spent on the game. But during release, it is okay to lay off some employees, keeping in mind that you have already spent a large amount of money on the game. And let's say you don't have enough left to cover the salaries of a lot of your employees, then I do understand why would they just lay them off 2 days before their thing expires. Yeah, it's kind of scummy in my opinion, because those people have spent such a long time in your company working, and all of a sudden you're just going there like, nah, fuck that, dude. I don't want these guys because I don't want to pay them, and I'm just gonna lay them off. No, it's not that. But being in the position that Kuro is in, then it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard, but they did what was necessary. And the greatest thing about Kuro is that they always, and when I say always, I mean always, update their games. No matter what. They always update them. No matter what happens, no matter no matter whether they need to update Wuthering Waves first or PGR first, doesn't really matter. They will always update the game. If the player base encounters a bug, the bug is gone in about a week. Maybe sometimes even less than that. But they do pay attention to their games, and they do apologize and give away bonuses for free because of the mishaps that happen here and there. So yeah, I do respect Kuro quite a lot, and I do think that they're a better studio than MiHoYo.
with all these things debunked, even if all the players would stop causing drama, there's another big problem happening, which is encouraging the fires, even though no one wants to put gas on them. Bots. The bots are unfortunately a real thing. Braxophone, who is a very well-known guide maker for Genshin Impact, Honkai Star Rail, and Wuthering Waves, just gacha in general, had these bots show up while he was streaming Wuthering Waves. He says 100 accounts followed him, and then he saw these first-time chatters very quickly in chat, saying Genshin Impact's attention to detail is impeccable. Wuthering Waves is riddled with sloppy mistakes. Did you know Genshin Impact's puzzles are clever? Wuthering Waves puzzles are childish. Genshin Impact's boss fights are thrilling. Wuthering Waves bosses are pushovers. Hey, did you know how seamless Genshin Impact's cooperative play is? Wuthering Waves multiplayer is a disaster. And what's funny is that someone posted this tweet on TikTok claiming that it was Hoyoverse that botted him. It's so Hoyover. Another gacha content creator called Legion Z Gaming also had this show up in a Wuthering Waves video in his comments. Genshin Impact is better voice acting than Wuthering Waves. Genshin Impact offers better co-op gameplay. Wuthering Waves has limited exploration opportunities. Wuthering Waves user interface is less intuitive. Genshin Impact's story is engaging, whereas Wuthering Waves narrative is bland. Genshin Impact features more varied enemy types. Wuthering Waves lacks regular updates, unlike Genshin Impact's frequent content releases.
Yeah, I
Look,
imagine.
man, I don't know who the hell is doing this. I don't think Hoyoverse would stoop this low to hire bot farms to do this. I mean, what are they
Nah.
going to get from it? I honestly would not.
It's
be
only a waste of
surprised
money if they
it was
do
one of
that.
These weird ass Twitter stands making up these bots, defending their billion-dollar company, and resulting in flames being exaggerated to massive hellfire. There is so much misinfo and even bots. But you know what's funny? The craziest thing in all this drama somewhat ended up being true. Going back to the wonderful and completely objective Gacha Gaming subreddit, this post made the rounds online, saying multiple tests from the Chinese community suggested opening Genshin on the background while playing Wuthering Waves may help fix Wuthering Waves performance issues. So initially, people thought that this was posting, but I've seen many comments of people saying that this actually kind of works. I thought it was ridiculous at first, but it's for very specific things. Some people had issues verifying integrity of game files after they launched the game, right? But then when they launched Genshin, for whatever reason, the loading bar started progressing, which made some people think, wow, dude, Kuro Games would really stoop this low, huh? Being like, of course they would make their game perform worse and only perform better once they launch a competitor at the same time. Of course, like, this makes total sense. Of course it doesn't, you buffoon! The actual technical explanation makes more sense. Some people have come up with that idea, which is Genshin is made on the Unity engine, a heavily modified version, so heavily modified that it doesn't classify
Wait, Genshin is on Unity? Huh. I didn't know that.
as Unity legally at this point. Wuthering Waves is on Unreal Engine 4. Unreal Engine 4 is more catered to mid and high range PCs, while Unity is more catered to literal potatoes. So it's somewhat more optimized fundamentally. When you launch Genshin, what it'll do is
I mean, yeah, but then again, I can't play Wuthering Waves on stream purely because I don't have 16 gigs of RAM, because that is the minimum that it requires. I have 8 gigs of RAM, so yeah, I would play Wuthering Waves on stream once I get a 16 gigabytes of RAM, which I do plan on buying in the future, just not right now or anytime soon. But when I get my RAM to 16, we are gonna play Wuthering Waves on stream. I can promise you that much. But as of right now, it's not gonna happen. Because the game apparently is on Unreal 4. And that requires a lot. That demands quite a lot. But yeah.
it'll kind of turn off the unnecessary Windows processes going on in the background that Wuthering Waves doesn't have control over. And this will help you have better performance when you're checking your game file integrity. Yeah, it sounds insane, I know, but some people have genuinely reported that it does help, and now they can play the game. So hey, whatever works, I guess. Look, overall, this has been crazy. I don't think I've seen so much drama between two communities when a competitor launched in a very long time. But with that being said, I do need to point out something important. I've seen many comments of people saying, I don't care about the stupid drama, I'm enjoying all games, why can't we just enjoy all games? And that's the truth. I'm sure Wuthering Waves developers have played Genshin, and I'm sure Genshin developers have played Wuthering Waves, and I'm sure they both enjoyed their time. Why can't we do the same? So let's chill, take a step back, and be glad that we have so many high-quality gacha games coming out that aren't just casino slot machine simulators, but something with an actual story and good characters. You have Azure Premilia coming out soon, and you have Project Mugen. I really do hope that when they come out, something like this will not happen again. Maybe I'm just too
Hopefully.
positive at this point. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Mwah. Love you.
I mean, what can I say? It's. Let me actually think about it for a while. It's kind of strange. At least in my opinion, it's kind of strange. But it explains a lot of things. Like, MiHoYo apparently make their games on the Unity engine. And by what Mujin said, they're made for potatoes. Which means that the game is developed so anybody can run it. Like, which means that they're gonna reach a large amount of players. Whilst Kuro, or Kuro's Wuthering Waves, is on Unreal 4. Unreal 4 is a pretty tough engine, and I know that because I have played Rocket League for 2-3 years consistently. And it's not an easy engine to work with. And imagine a game like Wuthering Waves on that very same engine. Like, no wonder why you need 16 gigs of RAM to run that shit. But it is what it is. Both studios are different. They have their different approaches to certain things. But I don't know. Saying that MiHoYo are trying to somehow mess with Kuro's games just so they can win their audience back. Not only is that dumb by MiHoYo not having any reason for even doing such a thing, because why the fuck would they do that? They're only wasting their time. Like, they're not sabotaging the competition. They're sabotaging themselves. But I don't know. I just don't see this shit happening. And that whole thing where you gotta open up Genshin and then Wuthering Waves so it can verify your files faster. Didn't know about it. And I haven't tested it. So I can't confirm if that's true or not. And I'm not even gonna comment on it. That's why I'm just gonna leave it with it could be true, it could be not. But until I try, I can't speak about it. But if it is true, I want to know, how does that work? Like, I'm really curious, how does that work? Okay. Do we watch another movie or do I just call it for the night? I mean, it's already been 3 hours, so I'm getting pretty tired, to be fair. I don't think that there's anything interesting to watch, though. Like, I mean, there are a lot of interesting things, it's just that I've already watched most of them, so yeah. It's kind of bad. Not gonna lie, but oh well. It is what it is. Well, I guess I'm just gonna call it for the night then. Because I'm tired as shit. So, yeah. I'm actually play the music on the background at least a little bit longer. But yeah. I appreciate you all for coming. Really appreciate it. I really, really know that you most likely didn't enjoy this. Most of the people don't, because they don't like me just yapping about different shit. But sometimes I do feel that need as well and that interest as well to just check some interesting videos, talk about them, and yada yada yada. If I don't forget, please do remind me to add a link to Mujin's videos that we watched tonight in the description of the live stream in YouTube, which I definitely have to do because I do want you guys to check out Mujin. Mujin makes one of the coolest informational videos that I have ever seen. Like, this dude does his research. So if you're interested in whatever he's posting, whatever stories he covers, which, not gonna lie, I really am. Like, there are some stories that are very controversial that he actually covers from the viewer's perspective, but he actually does his research, no matter what topic his videos are on. And I really do love that. Like, he covered all the Nijisanji situation, all the Dr. Disrespect, the Chris Nielsen situation, the like the two streamers that got suspended because of a racial slur and bullying over a smaller Twitch creator, even though they themselves are Twitch creators, and bullying amongst Twitch streamers is forbidden by the Twitch TOS. But yeah, Twitch has their favorites, so things happen. The TwitchCon 2024 video is actually pretty interesting as well. Like, I have watched that one with the spiked drinks and everything else from Blurp's party during the 2024 TwitchCon in LA, if I'm not mistaken, or was it in California in general? Because I'm not entirely sure. So I'm 100% misremembering right now the small details, but it happened at a TwitchCon a few months ago. But yeah, he also covered the Sayu Kenji drama and the Kenji Mofongo boys and what was her name again? Dove, I believe. Drama. I have watched this one, but I haven't watched this one. Oh, he also covered the stuff of homo situation. I gotta watch that. Okay. Go ahead and check this dude out if you want to watch something that is actually interesting and news related amongst the anime, gaming, and just controversial topics to talk about around it. I do like him quite a lot. Like the way that he makes his videos, the way that he speaks, the way that he does his research. Top notch. And if perchance, somehow, magically, Mujin finds a clip from my stream or just watches the VOD, dude, like I said, I do really like you in your videos. Like, I don't know you personally. I would love to meet you, to talk with you, to have a conversation about something. Doesn't matter what it is. And get to know you a little bit better, but I really do like your content and the themes that you're taking on and the way that you make your research. Like, it's interesting. For me, at least, it's interesting in the way that you tell the story, the way that it happened, the way that you show different kinds of maybe proof is not the right word for it, but just because I can't think of any better word than that, I'm just gonna use it right now. Old screen with screenshots from different tweets and stuff and yada yada yada. It does really make the video pretty interesting and quite the, maybe not a deep dive, because some of the videos are not that long, but usually when I see a video that is around 30 minutes or about, like, let's say above 30 minutes, I do kinda, in a way, consider it a deep dive into a situation. Like, for example, the Dr. Disrespect video, I do think that it's kind of a deep dive video. the Concord video is kind of a deep dive video, at least in my opinion. But that doesn't mean that I hate it. I might be just completely spitting bullshit. Call me out on it, please. I do welcome that. I do want to be more educated, but I'm a dumbass. And I don't know a lot of shit. So if I misunderstand something, if I... how should I say? If I say something that is complete and utter garbage, please call me out on it. And explain to me why do you think I'm talking bullshit. Because I want to see your guys' perspective. And see where is my mistake laying at. So I can get better and not do that same mistake again. Easy as that. But yeah, I'm gonna be calling it a night because I'm tired as shit. And tomorrow morning I gotta get up early. But yeah, hope you enjoyed the stream, even though for the most part of it we were just watching some stuff. Like I didn't feel like gaming as much tonight. I don't know why. Like the recent days I'm not feeling like gaming quite a lot as I usually do. But yeah. Still, appreciate you for coming. Hope you have an amazing day, evening, wherever the hell it is at your time zone. And hopefully I can see you next stream as well. Like, who knows? What the future has in store for us.